Well, good morning. Wow, just really excited to get back on the court tomorrow afternoon, playing in front of a national television audience on ESPN, and I think it's going to be great for our guys. They're well aware of, a really good basketball team that we're going to be playing against, a seasoned veteran basketball team. Team that we didn't have one of our better performances against last year. I don't think we were quite ready to take that big of a leap that early in the season, but we needed to play the game. So, and I'm glad that it was a home and home. They'll have an opportunity now to come play on our home court. Fortunately, some of our players that are returning this year played in that game, and I'm curious to see how they're going to respond. And also with some of our new guys. The one thing I do know is our defensive performance Friday night's not going to be good enough. And, offensively, we're going to have to do a better job of taking quality shots and moving the ball a little bit more. But it's an uphill task, very good team, lots of, upperclassmen that know what they're doing. Lots of experience across the board, and but at the same time, if we play like we practiced on yesterday, then we'll have a good shot.
Thank you, Coach. We'll go ahead and take questions. Just raise your hand. We'll get a microphone over to you. Let's start with Alex.
Avery, just wanted to ask you, how much of last season's loss to Dayton was kind of a learning experience for this team, and how much are you kind of using this game as like maybe a grade where this team is made up early this season?
Yeah, it was a learning experience for everybody. Just showed that the level of intensity wasn't good enough. Our execution was poor, spacing was poor. I think we had a stretch during the game where it was 18-18 and we turned the ball over 4 out of the next 5 possessions or 3 out of the next 5. But the level of intensity and energy that they played with, we were not on that level. So, hopefully with some more depth and experience and more bodies that have some experience, hopefully that'll help us with a sense of urgency and knowing that we got to have really good execution on both ends of the floor.
Is this kind of like for you personally, like where you are this season?
Well, the first game was a measuring stick. I think they all are. The first game, we had a very lethargic first half. But that wasn't a time for me to really jump down their throats. At halftime, I just spent most of halftime or all of halftime just teaching, because there are certain things, again, in our system that Corbin and Braxton Key and, AJ and Nick, that was their first real game. And after redshirting, and you still got some guys like Dante Hall that's young. So that's not any of our players.
Stop, sorry.
Go ahead, next question.
Okay, let's go on the right. That's your turn.
Do you have an update on Brandon Austin and his status?
Yeah, Brandon is still day-to-day. He didn't participate in practice on yesterday, but he did do some light work after practice. Knee is still bothering him, but he's improving. We'll see today whether he can go full speed at practice today or participate in some parts of practice, and then he'll be a game time decision on tomorrow.
We have time for other questions for Coach. Let's go to John in the front left.
Sorry, this is off topic of the game, but I asked Bruce Pearl last week, because of signing day and everything, if he thought you could make a culture change in the program before you start winning, and that includes getting better recruits, getting to take you seriously. And do you think that that's something that can happen before you win? Has it already happened?
You've already done it. So I don't know what they do, but we feel in terms of the way people think about basketball, it's a major part of that is because it's been a culture change, and what we've done in terms of facilities, the way we travel, the way we've educated our fans on what the expectations are, sharing our vision, going out to meet with a lot of different folks on campus, whether it's students or faculty or just administrators, the way we reconnected a lot of our former players to our program and the support that they've given us. It's been wonderful. So we think that shift has already happened. Now we just got to continue to get better on the court and help our players continue to get better so that they can play at a high level and maybe give ourselves a better chance of someday making it to the tournament and having a chance to advance.
And does it seem to you that is translated with maybe recruits that maybe they've got all these other programs looking at them, that they have noticed that they take you're a little more highly regarded even when you walk in the door?
Yeah, absolutely. I think when we walk in the door, obviously, my background speaks for itself, and you look at our coaching staff, they look at Pat Webb and Bob Simon and now Pelfrey. When we're going in there collectively as a group, we feel that all of us have something that we can share with each prospective student athlete and their families to try to convince them, one, to come on campus for a visit, and two, that this potentially could be a place where they can succeed and they can develop, their skill set on the court, which may or may not lead to a pro career, but they can get a great education and go out into the world and be very productive. But we think maybe some of the kids that didn't take our phone calls maybe years ago, at least they are taking our calls now, and if they take our calls and we can eventually get them on campus, we think we got a great shot.
Stay on that side, we'll go to Ken.
You mentioned being encouraged by a good practice day the other day. What do you see that makes it a good practice day? What are you looking for in terms of, I guess, attitude, work habits?
And I just think we weren't a step slow. We got to our spots faster. Spacing was better offensively. We didn't throw as many bad passes. But at the same time, defensively, we had proper closeouts, or, we didn't give up many offensive rebounds, and we didn't commit as many cheap fouls that would eventually get you early in the bonus. So a lot of the things that we talked about that are big points of emphasis on both sides of the ball, guys did a good job of executing it. And all the little things that I talk about, that I started to see some maturity and also sustaining their effort throughout practice. That's the one thing I love, about you guys. I know you have fun with me all the time about me using our football team as a reference, but it's a great reference. I see a high level of concentration throughout the game. And whatever ball you want to talk about, that works in basketball, football, baseball, it works in all the sports. And I thought I didn't see us have a high level of concentration to start our last game. I saw it in the second half. One half is not going to win this game tomorrow. You got to play, a 35-minute game out of 40 minutes to have a chance to be successful.
Stay on the left, go to Matt.
Avery, to go along with the concentration that you were talking about, I wanted to see more of that than you saw in the last game. What are some of the other areas that you're just interested to see tomorrow, how the team responds and how they do against Dayton?
I just want to see, what we used to call guard your yard. What we mean by that is not guard your backyard, but guard that yard, that first step, that when you're on defense, you don't get beat by one step, and really, open up the floodgates of our defense. I want to see, can guys guard their man? Can they guard 3 to 5 dribbles? And, defensively, can we also play team defense where we're not, if something happens to one guy, there's support from the second, third, and fourth guy. I want to see us offensively can we be a little bit more patient? We're just an impatient offensive team now. And I want to see guys that when they come off the bench and get in the game, whether they get in for a 2 or 4 or 5 minute stretch, can they give 125% instead of 75%? So those are some of the things I'm looking at.
Go back right, go Cecil.
Coach, just to follow up a little bit on what you just mentioned about guys coming off the bench, are there guys who are better suited to that? For instance, Bola, one who comes to mind because he brings such intensity. Do you like that coming off the bench, or was that something that you'd rather see in your team?
Well, I liked him starting off the second half. And that's where we needed the intensity because, again, in the first half, we had a problem rebounding, all right? And we also had a problem guarding the three-point line. And we didn't get enough offensive rebounds. So, wherever that fits in, we need that intensity. And a lot of these guys, a lot of the kids on our team, and I would say probably all of them, the ones that are coming off the bench, they all started in high school, or they all started on their AAU team. Now they have to learn a new role because everybody can't start, okay? And if you don't learn how to function in your new role, then it's going to be problematic, and then you'll find yourself out of the rotation. So just trying to find guys that want to buy into whether it's 5 minutes or 10 minutes or 15 or 20 minutes, I want to go out there and really bust it and give everything I have to help the team win. And that's something that, we're trying to make sure that we don't have a problem with moving forward.
Let's do a couple more questions, starting with Alex.
This is actually two-part real quick. Kind of off that, do you expect line changes today? You said you're still working through some. Could there be some starting line changes going on?
Could be. I think you might be that way for the first 3 to 5 games. We're just a different team. Last year, we basically, when we got to a point where we started Redden and Arthur and Riley and Mike and Jimmy, that was our best 5. But at the end of the day, that was our only 5 that we could start. This year, we can go a couple of different ways. So sometimes you can potentially see some lineup changes based on what we're trying to get accomplished on offense or defense, or maybe trying to problem solve for something that's problematic that we see with the opposing team. So who knows, you might see a different lineup for the first 5 games, different lineups. Maybe you'll see the same one 2 or 3 games in a row. You got to just let the season play out.
And as players of this, but what did you personally learn from that second half and seeing once you watch film and that kind of stuff, what did you learn about this team based on what they did in the second half of the first game?
I think what I learned is sometimes I'm so overly concerned about how we're going to score. What I learned was with our team, maybe sometime our best offensive team is our best defensive team. That maybe we may think sometime our best defensive team may be a little bit limited offensively, but no, they play the right way. So that's what I learned.
Good time for one more question, if there is any. All right. Thank you all.
Okay, thanks.